Hey everyone, and welcome back to the So Rude podcast. My name is Paige Ruderman, and I hope you're having a great day. On this week's episode, I'm going to do another song breakdown. So, this series started earlier this year when I broke down Alex Warren's song Burning Down, and I got a lot of feedback that you guys liked this type of style. You enjoyed my feedback, you agreed with what I said, and you were interested in me doing more of these. So, here we are back at it again for another song breakdown. Now, the song I chose for this week is I Choose You by Sara Bareilles. This was released on July 16th, 2013 on the Blessed Unrest album. It was written by Jason Bline, Pete Harper, and Sara Bareilles and produced by Mark Endert. And if I mispronounced any of those names, I apologize. I just think it's important to include who are the writers, who are the producers, because they are the ones that, in addition to Sarah's fabulous creativity, help bring that song to life. So, Sara Bareilles, you might be thinking to yourself, oh my God, how do I know that name? You know that name, okay? She's been around for quite a while, and to me is a little bit of an underrated artist. She falls more into that like theatrical pop side, especially because she has a musical, Waitress. With that musical, the song Used to Be Mine. It was everywhere. We've seen it performed on television competitions and the like. So she does lean a little bit more theatrical in her music. However, I love her stuff. And I was first introduced to her back in 2007 when Love Song came out. So we all know Love Song. I want to write you a love song. That brings up a ton of memories for me, and I won't be going into what those are on this episode. However, that song stuck with me, and I've been a fan ever since. So when I first heard the song I Choose You, I was blown away. And when I was going to pick my next song breakdown, I was struggling because, as you know, if you listen to the first one, I break this episode into three parts. And I was really struggling to find a song that I had anything to like comment on until it came up in my shuffle and I was loving it. And I realized, okay, this has to be the next song. So I Choose You. It is track number 9 on Sarah's album, The Blessed Unrest, which is surprising because I feel like later songs on an album don't always get the same love and attention that some of the very first songs on an album get. That could be driven through our current landscape of singles culture and how everyone listens to singles. It's really popular for people to release a single every 6 weeks to 8 weeks instead of like one album or one EP for the year. But this one really stands out for sure. And so, whether it's track 9 or track number 2 or whatever, like it's a great song. Kicking off with part 1, What Works? Production wise, it's a really fun song in the sense that it opens with these plucking chords and lyric right away. There's not a long instrumental, there's not a long intro. It gets right into the lyric and the song. And between the plucking chords and this like shaker sound that they have going on in the production, it creates a really fun, playful vibe. So upon first listen, you're like, wow, this is a really lighthearted song. It's moving, it's, mid-tempo, it's not dragging. And so you're like, oh, I kind of like this. This is fun. Upon listening back more closely, or if you're someone that just gravitates towards lyrics really fast, you go back and you listen to it. And as a listener, you're like, wow, there is some depth to this song just between the lyrics that are being included and kind of the poetry that she's singing. Next, I want to get into Sarah's vocals. Okay, so like her voice is stellar. It is truly one in a million. She can go from these really sweet, almost shy sounds into powerful belts that are rattling the rafters. And so in verse 1, when she's singing, it's almost this like haunting sound. At least that's how I interpreted the performance, where she's almost like pledging to this other person in the song, like she's pledging these lyrics to them. And so to me, it's like, oh my goodness, this person is committed, they are devoted. And that really came across really beautifully to me. Almost like dutiful, almost like non negotiable. She's just making statements. And then as she's singing, through verse one into a pre-chorus, she then gets to this chorus and it is beautiful the way her voice just floats. She gets to these like oohs and yous and it's just like floating in the air. And for a whole song, and if I haven't specifically called it out yet, this is a love song. This is a true love song. The title, I Choose You, is just such a powerful statement. So it was just beautiful the way she went from this like devoting, haunting, confirmative, the way the verses are set up into this really sweet, gorgeous chorus. It just captured me right away. As I'm talking about the content of the song, the fact that this is a love song, let me just pause and say that this lyric works for me. It is poetry put to music. And when I think about love songs, especially songs to play at a wedding or songs that really capture love as an emotion, this song captures love in the most organic form. And as soon as I think about love songs or songs I'd want at my wedding or things like that, this song comes to mind. There's just something about being so transparent and clear and confiding in another person that we are missing that from songs today. People are not as forthcoming with their emotions in the way that songs 10, 12, 13 years ago were, and even more beyond that. And so for me, I think there's another reason why this song sticks so much. It's because it's like, I don't need to doubt. I know exactly what the narrator or the speaker or the singer is saying. So I want to get into some of my favorite parts of this song because there are lines in this song, they have ingrained themselves in my brain. And for me, that happens in verse two. So verse two reads, there was a time when I would have believed them. If they told me you could not come true, just love's illusion. But then you found me and everything's changed, and I believe in something again. That is magic. That is pure music magic. The way it just wraps up, even lyrically speaking it, it is powerful. But if you could hear it paired with the melody, which is the most powerful point of music, you will be as wrapped up and transcendent in the love story as I am. And then we get to the second pre-chorus. Now, if you listen to my first song breakdown with Alex Warren's song, I spoke about my love for a good pre chorus. So if you haven't listened to that episode yet, I really get into why I think pre choruses are important and how to use them powerfully. I'm going to link that episode down in the show notes. So, like, please go and listen to that one too. You'll really enjoy it. But as I said in that episode, I love a pre chorus and I love when that's the most powerful part of a song because it's the part that so many people forget or almost overlook. But in this second pre chorus, she says, my whole heart will be yours forever. This is a beautiful start to a lifelong love letter. Oh my goodness. Just like I imagine when people are getting married, you've been with someone for so long and you've finally decided to take that step and say, yes, like the two of us, we are together. It's us against the world. And then to pair that with, not only will my heart be yours forever, but this is the beautiful start of a lifelong love letter. This is our love story. This is the book that people are going to write about us one day. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. What's also really important about this song is that from a lyrical standpoint, it's not just ignoring how much hard work goes into love either. When you hear a lot of more fluffy love songs today, just like, I love you, I love you, I love you. And that's kind of like the whole point. In the bridge, Sarah says, we are not perfect. We'll learn from our mistakes. And as long as it takes, I will prove my love to you. I'm not scared of the elements. I am underprepared, but I am willing. And even better, I get to be the other half of you. Can you imagine someone just standing there saying that to you as part of their vows, or even just part of as you're getting to know someone and trying to decipher your own emotions? Like to have someone say something like that to you is beautiful. And it's that very last line of the bridge too. I get to be the other half of you. That's gorgeous. And it's not that you get to be the other half of me, like congratulations to you. I'm great, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I get to do this. Of all the things I get to do in life, I get to be the other half of you and how magical that is. I choose you. That's the chorus. I choose you. I choose this life together. I choose to be with you. So to me, I just think that's so, so, so cool. Now let's get into part two. When I was trying to pick another song for my song breakdown, I was having trouble because the thing that stood out to me so much about Alex's song was there was a distinctive thing that I'd want to change. And I felt like that alone, in comparison to how much I loved the other parts of the song, allowed me to have a really great dialogue. And so when I was trying to pick another song, I'm like, "Ugh, there has to be something I don't like about a song, right?" As I'm going through. And every single time I listen to this song by Sara Bareilles, I am hit with the exact same thought. And so when it came up in shuffle in my playlist not too long ago, and I had the exact same thought again, I'm like, okay, this is worth commenting on. Let me preface this by saying it is so hard to pick something about this song that I don't like, or I would have changed if I was in the writer's room. So that's what this whole part two is about. If I was in the writer's room, what would I do differently? And the reason I'm even going to share that is because I'm a songwriter. I write with artists around town. I love writing songs. I have a couple cuts released that are going to be in a playlist in the show notes that is labeled written by Paige Ruderman. So if you're interested in what I have written or any songs that I have released, go and make sure you check that out. I'm adding stuff to that every time something comes out. So, from a songwriter perspective, I'm writing songs quite frequently. And when you're in the writer's room and you're trying to decide on a lyric or a melody, it's really important that people like it in the room, right? How can I expect someone else to like it if I'm not even a fan? So, when I listen to I Choose You by Sara Bareilles, there's one part in this song that every time just grinds my gears. And that is a interlude that comes after chorus one and before verse two. It's the word yeah that is held out in a melodic phrase. And it's but just between the product, I can't even put my finger on it. Part of me just thinks the melody itself just doesn't fit. It's a very big juxtaposition to what had been introduced sonically up until that point. The production on it too could have been weird. It was paired with the plucking chords again. So I'm like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't flow. It doesn't get me back into this story. How I was kind of like following this narrative as a listener, verse one, pre chorus one, chorus one. I'm then jarred out so drastically when it gets to that interlude, that instrumental part after chorus one. And so to me, I'm just like, oh, come on, girl. Did you really need that? Now, I also noticed when I have listened to live versions of this song, so when Sara plays it on tour or when she performs it live, she does not do that melody part in her live versions. And I think she also, as an artist, realized afterwards it didn't really work for her either. Now, the challenge is that it's out in the world and you can't take it back. And I do give them credit for experimenting and trying something new and out of the box, but it just didn't pay off for me in this particular aspect. Luckily, so much about the song I love, and I continue to listen to it time and time again, but that particular melody part just doesn't work. And if I was a more casual listener, or I didn't have as much of a emotional reaction to that song, I might skip it and not come back. In live performances, she swaps that yeah melody with this like, oh, oh, oh. And like that works so much better and just kind of like introduces, okay, there's a little bit of a break, relax, enjoy, pause, and then we'll get back to the story. And I really wish that was included in the released version because I love it so much more. But who knows? With the way Taylor Swift is redoing her stuff and the way other people are mimicking that like Taylor's version aspect of re-releasing songs, we might get a Sarah's version of I Choose You in the future that doesn't include that part. Of the whole song, that's like the one thing I can boil down and be like, I just don't like it. It lasts for like 16 counts, 4 bars, and then I'm just over it. Luckily, and then you're into the second half of the song and it's great. But yeah, wish she had swapped it. Now, this naturally leads me into part three, which is lessons learned. I think the only big takeaway from this song, from a change perspective, is selecting a vocal melody, whether it's for lyrics, ad libs, background vocals, instrumentals. Just make sure that the melodies you choose really work together. And I've had conversations like this with co-writers in the room where we can really like a melody for a verse and really like a melody for the chorus, but it doesn't mean that those two melodies go together. And the last thing you want someone to do is to think you're singing or I'm listening to two different songs. You want to make sure that they complement each other. And so the best way to do that is to go out and play it live. If you're not naturally transitioning from part to part of the song, you know something's wrong here. Either you need another chord, or you need to change the melody, or you need to change the key, or you need to change something. So that's a great indicator. If you cannot play the song smoothly through, it isn't flowing as much as you want it to. And two, when you play it out, you're going to be able to get in real time feedback from the audience. Is it working for them? And if it's not working for them, you'll know it. But two, is it working for you? I've realized things about songs, parts that I've loved while playing them out and parts that I disliked while playing it out, all because it's this in real time moment of, that didn't work. It didn't hit the way I wanted it to. It doesn't ever hit the way I wanted to. Now I need to go back and edit it and make sure it works well. From a cool perspective, what we can take away from this song was the music video that she created for this song is so creative. So she incorporated proposals into the music video. So me not even really knowing that the first time I listened to the song, and immediately I'm getting wedding vibes, I'm getting proposals, I'm getting true love stories. She incorporated that same aspect into the music video concept. And I just thought that was so creative, and she's really capturing what it feels like to commit to someone else lyrically and used that in the music video visuals. What else is really magical about this song is that it was released over 11 years ago. And from what I've learned about music, just because something's released, chances are they wrote it before that. So this is a quote unquote old song, and yet it still stands true. Production wise, except for that little part I talked about, is still beautiful. Her voice still sounds great. The lyrics are timeless. And it reminds me of an interview I listened to with Justin Tranter. I believe I'm saying that right. Please excuse me if I'm not. He is a big writer, and he was talking about how songs that have a timeless feel can live on in perpetuity in a way that something that's more right now doesn't. And every time you listen to a song that captures the sound of right now, you can place it in time, which is really cool. And there's a time that you want to do that. But I think it's so special when someone can lock into something that's truly timeless and people can relate to it across the lifespan, and whether it's been a year, 10 years, 20 years down the road. So overall, that is my song breakdown episode. I Choose You by Sara Bareilles came out in 2013. It still slaps today. I'd love to hear what you think about the song. I'm going to link the song in the show notes along with my last song breakdown episode and my playlist of all my releases. So if you're interested in checking any of them out, they're going to be there. But I'm curious, do you agree with my call outs? Are those the lines that truly resonate with you? Is there something else that you would have changed? And do you like the song? Are you also a Sarah fan? Now, if you're interested in having a song breakdown of one of your songs, reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram or TikTok at sorude.podcast. We also have a YouTube channel, So Rude Podcast, or you can find me on my website, www.sorudemedia.com. Reach out to me in any one of those places. Let me know if you have a song you'd love to hear my thoughts on. Maybe I'll include it in a future breakdown episode. And if there's a song that you love that you'd love to hear my thoughts about, make sure and reach out and tell me about those too. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode and have a fantastic rest of your day. I cannot wait to chat with you next time, and we'll talk soon. Bye now.